com hit.
I would like you to please say howdy to Dr. Glenn Barnes, and howdy is Texas A&M's official greeting. Once you meet Dr. Barnes, you'll know why Texas A&M is known as the friendliest campus in the world. In addition to making sure that no one feels like a stranger, Dr. Barnes, a former U.S. Army Green Beret, is a trailblazer in austere nursing with over 30 years of global expertise. As a clinical associate professor at Texas A&M University, he leads the groundbreaking Aerospace and Extreme Environment Nursing program. This program is redefining the boundaries of healthcare, equipping nurses with the skills to navigate challenges in remote, resource-limited settings like space habitats, polar regions, and disaster zones. By merging advanced training, innovation, and the indomitable spirit of exploration, Dr. Barnes is shaping the next generation of nurses who will boldly push the limits of human capacity and compassion in the most extraordinary circumstances. So with that, I give you Dr. Glenn Barnes.
Howdy. Oh, folks, that is weak. I didn't put this bow tie on for that. Howdy! There we go. Now we're talking. Okay, well, let's get myself up here. I mean, that's me, yeah, but you don't want to just stare at that all day long. Well, I mean, you might, but that'd be kind of weird. All right, so I am Dr. Glenn Barnes. As you can tell from that, I collect initials. And according to my fiance, I've got 12 more to go, and I've got every letter in the alphabet. I am a retired U.S. Navy lieutenant commander, and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. She said he was a Green Beret. Hoorah, I do them both. Because pre-9/11, I was in the Army, and then there was a big drawdown before everything happened. Post-9/11, I went into the Navy because, well, I was just too damn old to jump out of airplanes. And currently I am the program coordinator for we're going to work on this thing because it's the Aerospace and Extreme Environment Nursing Program. Well, let's back up a second. So, my bona fides. I have done a lot of different stuff, a lot of really weird stuff, but it all kind of comes up. Whatever door the big guy opens for me, I step through it because I figure he knows better than I do. And it's meant that I've led a very blessed life, which is why A&M came and said, hey, how would you like to do this? And I said, yes, I do. And why would I do with A&M? Because let's face it, if you're going to do something like this, you want a good backer. And A&M has a strong financial as well as political backing. So it's got the oomph to make it happen and make it work. They value cutting edge. So you have to have someone with the vision. Then you need someone with the capital and the political push to make it work. A&M has all of that. So why do we need nurses? Well, anywhere you're going to have people, you're going to have people get sick or hurt. And if they're going to get sick and hurt, you're going to need nurses to take care of them. Now, that's not discounting anyone from EMS on to physicians. We all have our part to play. But after the initial part that EMS handles, and after the diagnostic parts that the physician handles, the nurses are the one who are with you 24/7 for days on end. That is where you're going to need people that are trained to take care of you in long term. But they don't train us to survive because they expect us to do everything in a hospital. Well, not every patient is going to be in a hospital. Sometimes they're in remote locations. We need to have nurses that are trained not just in nursing, but in survival in those various environments, in those extreme environments. That's why we're doing this program. What are they, our extreme environments? Well, I mean, obviously, if we're here, we're going to talk about space. They like to call it aerospace, but the aero part is pretty well covered. We're going to do more with the space stuff. Now, space has been pretty much predominantly run by physicians, and that's cool because they do their job, and they do it really well. But it's a very niche setup, meaning that when you're in the space station, you got 4 or 5 relatively healthy individuals, and one doctor can do everything. But if we start with space tourism, if we start putting a moon base down, sending people to Mars, all those things that everybody's talking about that we're going to be there for, we need to have the contingency of lots of people. People are going to get sick, and they may need a little long-term convalescent. And you can't just put them on a bus and send them home. You're going to need people that are trained for that 24/7 bedside care. That's what we do as nurses. So the other aspects are on the planet, from Arctic and Alpine, so you got your cold weather, desert, tropical, your hot weather, wet hot and dry hot, disasters. You know that we expect nurses to respond to all disasters. The average training for a nurse is a couple days on disasters. That's just pitiful. We are really undercutting how nurses can work in disaster situations. Then we have areas of low-intensity conflicts. We're not talking about big army movements because big armies usually have their own organic medical assets. We're talking about civil unrest, guerrilla actions in third world countries. Instead of third world, there are low to medium income countries. So we need people who can actually set up a hospital out of an empty warehouse and start gathering supplies and making stuff work. I call it MacGyvering the crap out of nursing, because that's what you're going to have to do. And then we also want to cover maritime, so onshore, offshore, underwater exploration. They're starting to find some stuff there, and the technology is getting better, that we're also going to be exploring deep areas on the planet as well as in space. Okay, now we're going to be talking about where we're going to see it. Privatization of space. We already have people buying tickets to go in space. Give it another 5 years and we'll have Flotsam Paradise up there somewhere. There we are, at least one Fifth Element fan. We are going to have space tourism. We are going to have people that are going to want to go up there and stay for a week, 2 weeks, get a trip down to the moon. We're going to have people that have the money to pay for that, and if they're going to pay for it, people are going to do it. We already see that happening. Extend that a few more years, and people are going to be there, and they're going to need nursing care. Our remote austere locations, again, anywhere you have people, you have a need for nurses. Conflict, we already covered that, and our really remote areas, such as the Arctic research laboratories, deep in the Amazon rainforest, and different archaeological sites. Now, what about our program? Well, I can't tell you because it's a secret, but it'd probably be around early next year, depending on how we get everything processed. Because doing anything with a college, you're going to have massive hoops to jump through, but we're jumping. We're looking at having it to be a doctor of nursing practice. There's also talk of potentially having a certificate for EMS that tacks in along with that. But we're also going to have this DNP be a family nurse practitioner, because if you're going to be in those areas, you might as well be able to diagnose and treat as well as be a bedside nurse. We already have our startup funding. And believe me, I'm spending the crap out of that money because it's expensive. It really is. And we're gathering instructors from all over the world to lend their hand as subject matter experts. Because I've been to a lot of places, and I know a lot of things, but I can only do so much in this limited time frame. And we don't want it to all be Dr. Barnes's viewpoint. Because I know it's hard to believe, there might be better ways out there than what I think of. I know. It's hard to grasp, but it does happen. So, now we look at obstacles, because nothing happens without somebody getting up in your way. Well, one of them is that it's not been done before. There's nothing really to copy and paste. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm going to steal stuff from aerospace medicine like a fiend, but I've got to change it for nursing, because the physiology is going to be the same, but our focus is different. A nurse's focus is different from a physician's focus, even though the body and the things that have happened to it will be the same. which unfortunately means we also have silo issues. Since this is a relatively new field that's starting to come up, people want to be siloed about their knowledge. Why? Because there's money attached to it, and anytime you attach money to it, people get real greedy, and they want to keep it all to themselves. And knowledge is power, and power is a commodity. I get that. We need to get out of that mindset if we want to have a true collaborative effort. And as I just mentioned, this stuff is expensive because it's a weird paradigm that to simulate an austere environment, you need a lot of tech. And you also need tech to balance out that austere environment because you can't just like put lab in a tube, send it down to lab and have it done. You got to be able to do it yourself. You can't just go send them to ultrasound. You have to know how to do the ultrasound yourself and have the portable ultrasounds to do that. So we can augment technology along with our knowledge and get that together to make these people self-supporting in those austere environments. And we're looking at having it be truly multidisciplinary. Ooh, I really tripped up on that word. Multidisciplinary. And I'm not talking about just doctors and nurses. That's an easy one. I'm talking about bringing in software engineers. I'm talking about bringing computer programmers. I'm talking about all the disciplines together to make this thing work. Because if we try to do it just by ourselves, Great Army's saying, you know, succeed together or fail alone. And that's what it's going to be. So even though we are strong alone, we are stronger together. And right now, there's no immediate return on investment because we're not looking at something that's going to really be kicking off for another 3 to 5 years. So we have to have people that are forward-thinking and willing to take that risk. And thankfully, A&M was willing to do that. Now, with our opportunities. Oh my gosh, the future is wide open because, again, nobody's ever done this before, so I don't have a pre-planned path to limit my forward progress. I could just go wherever we think is the best. It's unexplored. So we can actually move forward and get experts from the field and say, you know, they say this is, but you know, everything we've learned says this is the best way to do it. Okay, we're going to do that. So we end up with those high-level collaborations where people start doing, we're not constrained by what was. We get to make what is. How many people are sick of well, that's the way we're doing it because we've always done it that way. That's the silliest reason I've ever heard for doing anything. And let's face it, it's just cool. The idea of space nurse? Oh, sign me up, I'll go in a heartbeat. I thought jumping out of airplanes was cool. You want to send me into space? Let's go. And the idea of being fundamentally instrumental in carving out a new niche, a new scope of knowledge for nurses. That to me is just too cool to talk about. That's where we get to my thank you. This is where we get to ask questions.
Glenn, how much of the program are you anticipating being able to be done remotely, or is everybody going to have to come to Texas A&M?
Right now, everything's planning with A&M because again, they will want their ROI in there. But I would imagine that once we get it set up, other people will copy it. I mean, that's just the way of things whenever you set something new up.
He also was wondering, is any of the component going to be online or is it going to be an in-person class?
We're going to run with a hybrid idea, doing most of it online, but there are just some things that you will have to do in-house. Like we are going to teach nurses survival because no matter what austere environment you go to, if you don't survive, you're not going to be helping anybody. So they can read about it, but you can read about starting a fire with 2 sticks all day long until you actually get on the ground and do it and figure out, have somebody who knows how to do it work with you. It's really, really difficult to figure that out.
You just answered my question. That's where I was going to go.
That mental telepathy works almost every time.
Any other burning questions?
Or even simmering ones. There we are.
Okay, if there's no, I mean, we got a question, but if there's no more after that, we'll just ask for volunteers.
I guess
the people that will want to get into this exciting field, what do you see as the process for selecting the lucky people that get into this program? Will it be like, for example, the way they choose astronauts today?
No, we are going to look for people with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. And right now, because this degree works into a Doctor of Nursing practice and a family nurse practitioner, they will be nurses. This will be the nurses course. So this will be, right now, it's set up to be a Bachelor of Nursing Science, and then you'll come out with a Doctor of Nursing practice. And then, of course, there will be some accepted physical concerns and constraints because you will be expected to perform going out into the woods and staying overnight in a shelter that you have to make and purify water from a land-based water source. So there are some physical constraints that will, or at least be acknowledged by the person taking it. If they still wish to go, I'm happy to have them.
All right, thank you very much, Glenn.
All right, thank you all.
So Glenn, I did want to mention how grateful we are for your work and also having Texas A&M College of Nursing as a partner with ComHit, and that we're very excited that you're going to be on the Expert Extreme Environment Healthcare panel tomorrow, joining us for Space Health Nexus. So for those of you that are going to be here, it's really going to be a feast for the eyes and ears with Glenn and other panelists tomorrow to talk about aerospace medicine. So it'll be pretty cool.